I like to begin my day with a big old giant bowl of cereal. I eat cereal pretty much all the time, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Couple of my favorite types of cereal are Cocoa Puffs, Frosted Flakes, and Corn Pops. But the thing about all of these cereals that they all have in common is that each of the cereals I just named contain genetically modified corn. Hello, my name is Abagail Lanier, and today I will be discussing whether genetically modified organisms should or should not be labeled inside the United States. Since 85% of corn and soy planted in the U.S. are genetically modified, most processed foods are made of GMO ingredients. In fact, soy and corn aren't the only foods that have been genetically modified. There are also rice, canola oil, cotton, tomatoes, potatoes, dairy products, meat products, and peas. Now, what I want to discuss with you is the controversy, exactly what GMOs are, the labeling of GMOs, and the controversy that GMOs possess inside the United States. So let's begin exactly what are genetically modified organisms. Genetically modified organisms are an innovation in agriculture. They involve taking a desired gene out of one plant or animal and placing it inside another plant or animal to get a desired effect. This is a great thing to do, I believe, because by having GMOs, it allows us to have better corn, better wheat, and it's really an innovation in agriculture that I believe that we should be thankful for. Now, the main point I want to talk about is the labeling of these products. And by labeling, I mean whenever you go to the grocery store and pick up a box of cereal, it contains a label saying that this contains genetically modified organisms. Why exactly is this a controversy? Because a lot of people believe that genetically modified organisms aren't safe to eat because they are tagged with health risks. Many consumers don't know that the food that they buy contains genetically modified organisms. Like I said before, many people don't know that Cocoa Puffs, Frosted Flakes, and Corn Puffs all contain genetically modified organisms. And the reason that we don't know this is because it's not labeled on the box. Labeling has been proposed in the United States under a variety of initiatives at the national and state levels, but has not yet been implemented inside the United States. So the question I ask is, should genetically modified organisms be labeled? I believe that genetically modified organisms should not be labeled at this point in time. And the reason for this is because they aren't already labeled today, and we're doing pretty good, but labeling is something that I believe should be looked into the future, but should not be implemented right at this time. I want to discuss with you right now the controversy that genetically modified organisms contain. I will give you the pros and cons. Here are some pros. First off, genetically modified organisms are actually innovation in agriculture and research. So over time, this is a way of us to adapt to the growing culture, the growing population, and meet the needs of people by using technology. Instead of growing more, we're producing more with less. Another thing is, for farmers, genetically modified organisms produce a better crop. For example, the company Monsanto states in their website, "Good tasting and grown in a better way, our biotech or genetically modified sweet corn reduces the number of pesticide applications and thus allows farmers to take fewer trips across their field. With its built-in pest control, farmers who plant Monsanto's biotech sweet corn are able to grow high-quality produce with reduced insect pest damage." So this is an example of how genetically modified organisms are easier for farmers to grow because they reduce the number of pest applications. There are some cons to genetically modified organisms, though. They're not necessarily organic, and I know that's a big trend that people like to think of nowadays. I want to know where my food comes from, I want to know what's in it, and I don't feel comfortable feeding my kids something that I'm not necessarily sure about. Genetically modified organisms are tagged with health risks at some times, so that's why a lot of people believe that they should be labeled inside the United States. But the current U.S. law mandates food labeling when there is a substantial difference in the nutritional or safety characteristics of a new food. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, does not consider the method of genetic engineering itself to create such a different. So, in conclusion, Currently, genetically modified organisms are not labeled in the U.S., and I do not think they should be, but we should look to labeling them in the future. Genetically modified organisms are something great in agriculture and something that I believe everybody should develop an opinion on after they have done the research. Again, my name is Abagail Lanier, and today I've discussed with you whether or not genetically modified organisms should be labeled inside the United States. Thank you.